for a moment now, I want to step back to some pragmatic arguments, maybe why the United States should be standing behind Israel in the way that it does. Are there any good reasons? I mean, the ones that come to mind that I hear most often is that the United States needs a foothold in the Middle East, and Israel is this bright beacon of democracy in the face of Hamas, barbarity, and Sharia law.
The United States doesn't need beacons of democracy to establish footholds. It often helps because it means that the regime that you're investing in to act as a surrogate for your power is relatively stable. And if you have a popular support for the regime, then its quote-unquote democratic character is a useful factor, I would say. But obviously the U.S. has had many local surrogates, be it a South Africa, be it a Saudi Arabia, or be it, the list is so long, which were not by any pretense democratic. I don't think now is a good time to resolve that question. It would take some time. My own view is, broadly speaking, where a fundamental U.S. interest is not at where a fundamental U.S. interest is at stake, Israel has relatively, as in its lobby, have relatively little power to undermine that interest. The most obvious case in recent times was when the President Barack Obama, his administration, wanted to sign the deal with Iran. Netanyahu, the Israeli government, was totally against that deal. The Israel lobby invested a huge amount of money, in the tens of millions, to try to undermine that deal in our Congress. It got nowhere. Once the U.S. resolved this is a national interest, the effect of the lobby is, and Israel itself, is relatively marginal. Where the U.S. does not see a fundamental interest at stake, let's say in the case of the settlements, the lobby can usually get its way and get U.S. acquiescence, not necessarily support, but acquiescence in its actions. And as I said, I think the settlements fit roughly in that category. The U.S. formally doesn't support the settlements. It's said that they call it they don't help. That's the expression they use, as if this were first aid or something. I mean, the expressions they come up with are they're so sophomoric. They're not helpful. They're not helpful, like you're a principal of a high school or grade school. That action, Johnny, was really not helpful. They call it not helpful because they want to evade the language of not legal. But they acquiesce in it because of the power of the lobby in the U.S. So I would say it's like most lobbies. I don't see why one has to make a distinction. There's a Jewish lobby. I mean, I don't think that's a big shocking. There was a Cuba lobby. There's a National Rifle Association lobby. There's a big pharma lobby. There was an Ireland lobby.
Ireland?
Yeah. It was actually a strong lobby.